Okay. Fifth tries the charm, maybe. And I'm wearing my fire engine pajamas with 16 flavors of cat fur. Anyway, I've been traveling the past couple weeks. First chance I've had to actually sit down using the YouTube's live stream option. And I don't need to spin the Gag Master wheel tonight because I've already done so from the parking lot of a train station. Prior to that, the parking lot of a ferry dock. Been living out of parking lots, I guess maybe you could say. But I've already accomplished 4 or 5 of the travel edition Gag Master challenges using the little travel model spinner that I created that sits inside my vehicle. Anyway, the prompts tonight are from about a week ago, right before I got on board a train. And I just haven't gotten a chance to do it yet, but I did accomplish all of the other prompts. So this is the last one from the travel edition. And the prompts, I've had a little too much time to think about this one, actually, because normally I'm used to spinning the Gag Master challenge wheel and just jumping into the fray. Nothing like being thrown to the wolves with little to no preparation or time to think. So this is different because maybe it benefits, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But this one, I've kind of been mulling over in the back of my mind. It's a little bit tricky, this one. So the prompts were for character gambler. First time I've gotten that one. And then the location was office. Well, I've had doctor's office, but this one was just regular office, I presume. So gambler, office, and then the sort of abstraction for this one was doing things the hard way. Arr. I'm not a sex worker, so well, maybe I should. I mean, hey, things are getting tough all over, right? So, but yeah, I'm gonna try this one, sort of seat of my pants, even though I've had a little bit of preparation for this one mentally. It's still gonna be, I think, a real challenge to put down on paper because in my mind I have way more going on for this one than needs to happen. So I'm going to try to figure out how to distill and condense that down into a shorthand version of the mess that's in my brain as per usual. So let's go give it a go. See if my girl Gemma's going to sabotage tonight. And there's the magic bling I was waiting for because I've been experiencing technical difficulties. Also, let's take a look. This is the iPad set up here that I've been using to record. Oops, I need to set that to time lapse and then to 1 second versus 5 seconds. So here we go. Okay. Okay, Gemma, this is your chance, girl. So we're going with 14 inches for our vertical portrait measurement. This is a carpenter's pencil, so I don't have the ability to stick it in the pencil sharpener. I've already kind of figured out that this particular strip, Gag Master cartoon, will not have dialogue balloons. It'll just have a caption box on the bottom. But there's going to be a lot going on. And that's what I kind of got to figure out. How to squeeze 10 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket, right? And it doesn't matter what size paper I use. You could give me a piece of paper the size of Iowa and a few cows while you're at it. Maybe I could do some farming, some cattling. So I got a little cheat sheet here since I don't have access to the internet. And this is one of the things that's going to play a key part in this particular strip. This little cheat sheet right here. These are colorful colloquialisms. Well-known expressions for the roll of the die. I'm gonna have to. I'm already behind schedule, I think. I hear you. My girl Gemma, she missed me, and so of course she's gonna have to come up here to flip and flop. And it's spring now, so we're in full shed season. Shedding is, I mean, I need to open a wig factory, I think. So what do we got? We got I picture sort of like a board meeting kind of setting, you know, with a bunch of chairs and maybe like a big window over here that overlooks the cityscape. And there's a lot going on here, right? And then you've got like so how do you draw this if both my hands are, so I got interlocked. So let's just start with like, you know, this. And then like sort of like that. I think this one's going to end up being more like a 1940s sort of. There was a certain kind of cartoon back in that era that they drew almost like they were cartooning as if they were Picasso. So what I mean by that is they would draw a lot of curvy shapes and a lot of, you know, it wasn't realistic. In other words, it was very cartoony and very loosey goosey. And that's probably how this one's going to turn out, due to the fact that I'm weary as hell. And right now it's pretty late East Coast time. These dice are too big, but I don't care. It's all about just the impression. I mean, there's no dice on the planet that are this big. So yeah, that's already a sort of break from realism, all right? What does CEO stand for? Can anyone tell me? Gemma, where are you, Gemma? Let's just add a pen here just for shizzles, madrizzles. Just a pen in a special CEO holder of sorts. I've got all these little things that I'm going to have to get like a scrub brush out someday and scrub my drawing board. And this is not my permanent drawing board anymore. This is kind of like my part-time drawing board. The one that I've been using is in my attic studio, and it was literally found on the side of the road and turns out to be an antique from some long forgotten drafting table company that existed in Michigan. Really cool. It's very valuable. And if you found the right buyer for it, apparently, the table in my attic studio would be, on a bad day, could fetch $900, but on a good day, anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500.
I know, I know. I was gone too long. I was gone too long. You are a troublemaker. Yes, you are, Shama. You are such a troublemaker. You're getting comfortable, aren't you? Hmm? You are. You're getting comfortable, aren't you? Hmm? Ah, shit.
Well, I don't know. I definitely think that some things are better just sort of straight and marker. Like I shouldn't have even bothered to pencil the hand or anything. I don't know. Because I never follow my actual pencils anyway. It's like, it's not an act of rebellion. It's just my pencils generally aren't the best, they're average. So when I get to the point where I'm committing everything to ink, I feel like it's an opportunity to correct whatever mistakes. Oh, geez, Gemma, what did you have for dinner tonight, girl? To correct mistakes, but also maybe take the line work in a different direction if necessary. I liked some of the things that were designed in the 1960s, like just sort of functional stuff. They had a somewhat curvilinear design. You playing? You are, aren't you? Okay. Love my chisel tips. Love my chisel tips. There goes the eraser, Gemma. Don't you want to chase? Huh? Don't you want to chase that eraser? Oopsie daisy. You're being a good girl, Gemma. Yes, you are. What a sweet, sweet girl. You got a perfect spot cradled up there. A little toasty tonight. You and your one big whisker. Your one white whisker. All of Gemma's whiskers are black except the one white whisker. She's had it for years, since she was a little kitten. Isn't that right? You always had the white whisker, didn't you? Every once in a while, one of my friends will lose a whisker and I'll find it and I'll put it someplace and I'll have like this whisker sitting on a shelf for a few years, like a trophy of some sort. Very strange. So, what is this strip about? Well, we got a keyword prompt for character was gambler, but I couldn't consolidate the concept of a gambler with an office. I actually, initially, when I first wrote down the three words and I saw the word office, I thought of a bathroom, like how a lot of gamblers would shoot craps in a bathroom. And then there's that double entendre thing with craps. But I thought, well, I love my bathroom humor, but I wouldn't be sticking to the actual prompt of office. It's just like a gambler's office, quote unquote, is a bathroom, right? So I figured that would be a little bit of a cheat. So then I rethought it and I thought, well, a gambler in an office. Well, you know who gambles all the time are corporations. So what if the gambler wasn't an individual per se, but now that our wonderful government has defined a corporation as an individual to protect them, isn't that ironic? Now that corporations are technically individuals, how the heck that ever came to be is beyond me. Just more corruption from our puppet masters. So yeah, it seemed like a natural extension, to. I hear you, Gemma. Gemma's going crazy for that eraser I dropped. I dropped that rubber eraser, and now she's made it her quest, her life's goal to... There we go. What's that girl up to? I cannot draw a freehand straight line tonight. I've lost my confidence. I've been drawing on iPad the past 2 weeks for most of these challenges. It doesn't take long to be rusty when it comes to certain things. I remember the last time I busted out the welding machine to do some welding, and I felt like I needed to go back to the skill center that trained me. Did a few beads, and they were like booger snot, sloppy garbage. And then I took a coffee break, and I came back to it, and miraculously all my skills returned, probably due to the embarrassment of having temporarily lost my ability to do what used to be as natural as riding a bicycle. If you look closely at a die, there are like little concavities, right? Little divots in what used to be ivory, but it's now plastic. So I'm trying to capture that by not filling them in entirely black. So yeah, with corporations gambling all the time, with stock markets, and there's all kinds of gambling involved. Not necessarily gambling like what you see here, but taking gambles with the company, with their employees. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this one. I think it's time to try one of the brand new Sharpies. Oh, I'm sorry. These ain't no Sharpies. These ain't no Sharpies. These are imitation Sharpies, aka Jots. So, screw that. not quite sure what the root origin of Little Joe from Kokomo is, but I can imagine some crap shooter just kind of making that up on the spot, and a bunch of guys hanging out in a men's room or gambling, after hours gambling club, cracking up, thinking it was the funniest shit they ever heard. And then because that gambling club was frequented often, it got repeated and repeated and repeated. And ended up being like Johnny Appleseed. It just, it went all over the country, right? I mean, some wealthy guy that gambles, that has a house in New York and in somewhere on the West Coast, he's going to take that expression with him. Whew. Just barely squeezed it in there. Barely, 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 barely. Barely, 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 barely. Where is my other pencil? Pencil. Oh. There it is. Forgot I had a box full of other. Still haven't unpacked packed and unpacked so many times, lost track. Living out of boxes, living out of bags. Wearing the same clothes, a bunch of dirty rags. Speaking of which, my goal is to never do laundry again. I think what I'm going to do is just buy fresh underwear and fresh t-shirts every week and just keep wearing the same dirty pants. Maybe occasionally showering in my pants with soap or shampoo just to give them a little rinse, hang them on the clothesline. Man, that's the life. That's what I'm talking about. Fresh underwear every day. Look who's here. Gemma. Gemma, Gemma. You came back, you stinker. You were having fun chasing that eraser, weren't you? Good thing I dropped it. Wouldn't have nothing to do. No, except bug my butt. No. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Don't know what it is about this red pencil, but it's really tough to erase. Damn it. Well, I made a mistake. I should have done my black ink after I did this shading with a pencil. But now I've got like lead overlapping the black areas, which is a degradation of sorts. Because now it's not pure. Probably should have done a wash instead of this pencil, because now I've got all these crisscross applesauce lines everywhere, and I'm not pulling my implements like I normally do tonight. Maybe I shouldn't start Gag Master challenges at 1 in the morning. Huh. You think? Oh well. Plenty of time for sleeping when you're dead. Like how I accentuate that word. I wonder who ba doo ba doo. Yeah, no amount of scribble can make up for bad decisions in artwork. Well, this took longer than I wanted it to, because I had a simple concept here, but I Whoopsie daisy. Can you imagine getting called into the boss's office? Of to 150,000 a year. But it's no longer sustainable. I have a really bad feeling that in our lifetime, we're going to see artificial intelligence take a lot of jobs that traditionally have been reserved for humans. And when that day comes, there's going to be a lot of people jumping out of windows. I mean, if you're used to living on a certain amount of money and all of a sudden you are no longer bringing in that same amount, but you still got a mortgage to pay on a bazillion-dollar house, you know, I almost feel like poor people are better equipped to handle hard times. I mean, it sucks regardless, but you can only take so much of nothing away from somebody who has always had nothing. You can't, you can take a lot away from somebody who has a lot, but somebody who's never had anything, well, a hair less than what they're used to having, not going to make that much of a difference. Belts get tighter, that kind of thing. Make no mistake, it's going to suck. Man, my lettering woes continue. What's the matter, Gemma? You get tired of trying to sabotage me? Hmm? Oh, what did I do? What did I do with my pair of scissors? Scissors. I had a pair of scissors. I don't know what it is, but I refuse to use that green eraser. I accidentally touched it a couple times. I need to put up a sign that says no fondling the green eraser. Something about sour apple. I love sour apple Jolly Ranchers or whatever they're called. Jolly Rogers? No, that's the flag skull and crossbones. Now, if they had a sour apple Jolly Roger, I'd be all about it. But anyway, skull and crossbones. A little tart, but palatable nonetheless. So it's blue eraser, yellow eraser, or pink eraser for me. I'm trying not to use purple or green. I don't want to incur the wrath of the Incredible Hulk, I guess, for taking advantage of his color scheme without his permission. Would be funny if Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, got angry over stupid shit like that. If it was like really, like ADHD kind of stuff instead of like things that were worthy of one's anger. Like he wouldn't get angry if his lying, cheating whore of a girlfriend was screwing his best friend. He wouldn't get angry at that. But if a drop of ketchup ended up on his shirt sleeve while eating a hot dog, he'd turn into a raging behemoth. Right, Gemma? You heard me talking about you, and now you're trying to claw it up. Yeah, you got to mark it now. I said, okay, I got dirty paws. I've been all over the place. And this guy's trying to clean up his artwork, so I might as well ruin it. What a beast. You are such a fiend. Demon child, Gemma. Huh? You're a demon child. You are. Don't you nudge me. Don't you try to sweeten me up. You stinker. Okay, Gemma. That's it. I'm done. I just got to find the scissors. Where'd I put the scissors? Huh? Where'd you put my eraser, you stinker? My good. Well, at least I remembered to start the time lapse tonight. When you're tired, you tend to be a little more forgetful. And I also was conscious enough, lucid enough to turn my baseball cap around backwards, because I noticed in a few other previous Gag Master challenges that the brim of my cap was interfering with the visibility. So I get an attaboy and a pat on the back. Righto. Okay, so what do we got? What do we got? Whoa. What do we got? Ooh. We got, well, like I said earlier in this session, the gambler isn't a physical entity or an individual, but a corporation. So, with the CEO being like a mascot, gambler corporation in an office with doing things the hard way. So that abstraction comes in when we see this board here. Snake eyes equals you're fired. And that's what this guy just rolled. And that's why he's flipping his wig. Boxcars 12 equals go again. Little Joe from Kokomo, which is 5, equals get out of here. Yo-Yo 11, which is 11, equals drop in salary. Ballerina equals dinner with my wife. Actually, that might be the best one an employee could get, because if he's able to make way with the wife, then maybe the wife can make way with the CEO on their behalf. All right, that was fun. It definitely took longer than I wanted it to, but that's life. That's what people say. Riding high in April, and then you're shot down in May.